Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this is that episode of the week where I tell you which guys you should consider adding to your fantasy team to help you secure that win in week 17 of the fantasy hockey season. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Tipped. I'm constantly posting there to help you guys out every single week. And well, without further ado, let's jump right into the schedule for this weekend. So as you can see here, guys, there are 8 teams playing on Friday, 14 playing on Saturday, and 16 playing on Sunday. So there are a lot of teams playing on Saturday, Sunday, and not a whole lot on Friday. So likely there is room in your lineup on Friday. And you probably honestly have room for at least a defenseman in your lineup on Saturday or Sunday. Go and check your lineup and see what you can fit. Now, we're going to be looking at streamers that you could stream for this weekend to help you win. And first, we're going to look at Friday, Saturday streamers, then Friday, Sunday streamers, and then Saturday and Sunday. So you pick up the guy whose schedule is best suited for your needs. Jumping into the Friday and Saturday streamers, and there is only one team that plays both Friday and Saturday, and that team is the Los Angeles Kings. So if you do want someone to stream for both Saturday and Friday, well, you got to pick someone from the Kings. The number one guy that I would stream is Victor Arvidsson. He's 44% rostered, plays second line and only second power play, but the dude shoots the puck an insane amount, which gives you a crazy safe floor just there. And he's been able to produce the entire season, which is why I really like Victor Arvidsson. Then I have Adrian Kempe, who's actually top line with Kopitar and top power play. He's also produced the entire season. Another excellent streamer. I don't understand why both these guys aren't higher rostered, to be honest. Then I have Trevor Moore, only 11% rostered, but this dude is on absolute fire in the month of January. He had 18 points in 15 games, and he's going to continue that hot pace in all likelihood. Really like Trevor Moore for this weekend and to hold on in the future as well. Then I have Alex Iafallo, who's on the top line and top power play, 25% rostered, in a pretty good spot to put up some points. Then Philip Danault, 18% rostered, centering that second line with Trevor Moore and Arvidsson, so it's a pretty good place for Danault to be, and he's been pretty effective all year as well. Then I have Dustin Brown, who is only on the third line, but is on the top power play, so that gives him a little bit of upside. And he does shoot the puck a decent amount, which gives him a pretty safe floor, so I don't hate Dustin Brown as a streamer if nobody above him is available. Then I have Andreas Athanasiou, 2% roster, skating on the third line with Dustin Brown and Quinton Byfield. The next guy on this list, neither Athanasiou or Byfield are really my favorite options, but if you need someone to stream for those 2 days, Friday and Saturday, they're not the worst in the world. Now, Athanasiou does get second power play time, whereas Byfield doesn't. That's why I have Athanasiou just a little bit above Byfield. Now, if you want to stream someone for Friday and Sunday, there are 5 teams that play on those days, so there's a little bit more options. Carolina, Chicago, Dallas, Minnesota, and Vegas are the 5 teams that play those days. Now, the number one guy that I would stream is Matt Boldy of the Minnesota Wild. He's been absolutely insane. He's playing on a line with Gaudreau and with Fiala. Fiala super hot. Boldy super hot. Honestly, he should be over 50% on at this point. He's only 28% rostered. So people have got to add this guy because he's honestly just been insane. He just scored a hat trick. So I don't know what more it's going to take for this guy to be added in more leagues, but he's an absolute stud. Then I have Marcus Foligno, 56% rostered. He shoots and he hits, which gives him a pretty safe floor, and is able to put up some points as well on a pretty solid line with Eriksson Ek and Jordan Greenway. Then I have Joel Eriksson Ek, who plays top power play in Minnesota and plays on that line with Foligno and Greenway. He's been pretty effective all year. Then I have Evgeny Dodonov of the Vegas Golden Knights, who's now playing on the top line with Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone. On top of that, he's on the top power play with Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone. They're giving this guy an unbelievably good shot to succeed here, and I'm going to pick him up right now and stream him if I'm in a league where he's available, because Mark Stone is out for a while. Then I have Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars, and he's never been my favorite option this season, but the options below him are a little bit worse. So honestly, Jamie Benn is a pretty safe option to stream, considering that that line's actually doing pretty decent right now. Then I have Dennis Goriano, who's also playing on Jamie Benn's line alongside Tyler Seguin, and he's been producing lately, so don't mind the ad there either. Then I have Chandler Stevenson, who's now actually playing on the second line with Jonathan Marchessault and Nicolas Roy. So Chandler Stevenson does actually still have a little bit of fantasy relevance with that deployment. They actually did break up the Marchessault, Riley Smith, and Carlson line, and it looks like Stevenson, Marchessault, and Roy is the line, at least for the immediate future. So I'm hanging on to him, and he's a decent add for this weekend if he's available. Then I have Dylan Strome of the Chicago Blackhawks, who's been really, really great alongside Patrick Kane on the top line, top power play, really producing a lot lately, so definitely not a bad add for the weekend. Then I have Riley Smith of the Vegas Golden Knights, who's now playing on the third line with Janmark and Carlson, so definitely not the best deployment. I could have him a little bit lower on this list, but he has been pretty solid this entire season, so I couldn't really drop him too much lower than this. Then I have Martin Necas of the Carolina Hurricanes, who has not been that great this year, but he is right now playing on the top line with Sebastian Aho, so I cannot drop him lower than that because the upside there is really, really great. Then I have Nicolas Roy of the Vegas Golden Knights, who's now playing, like I said, with Marchessault and Chandler Stevenson on the second line, so that deployment's pretty solid. Don't mind Nicolas Roy. Then I have Frederick Gaudreau and Jordan Greenway of the Minnesota Wild. Greenway's playing with Foligno and Eriksson Ek, and Gaudreau's playing with Fiala and Boldy. Both really solid deployments, not terrible streamers whatsoever. Then I have Brandon Hagel of the Chicago Blackhawks playing on the second line and top power play, been able to produce pretty much this entire season, so not a terrible add if you're desperate. Then I have Seth Jarvis, who's playing on the second line with Trocheck, not a terrible deployment there. Then I have Stahl and Niederreiter, who's playing on the third line with each other and with Jesper Fast. Really not the best line to be on for fantasy production, but if you're desperate, they're not the worst. All right, so what if you want to stream a forward that plays both Saturday and Sunday? Well, the teams that play both Saturday and Sunday are Arizona, Buffalo, Edmonton, and Ottawa. The number one guy I would stream from those teams is Alex Tuch of the Buffalo Sabres. He's been absolutely outstanding since being traded to Buffalo and getting off that LTIR. Been really, really good. Guy's been over a point per game and has been shooting, has been looking really great. Then I would add his line mates, Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner, both top line with Tuch, top power play as well, and both having a pretty solid season. Then I would go for Clayton Keller of the Arizona Coyotes, 47% rostered, top line, top power play, also having a really great season, should probably be over 50% owned. Then I have Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators playing on the top line with Brady Tkachuk, and also on the top power play, been producing pretty well with Josh Norris out of the lineup. Then I have Jesse Puljujarvi of the Edmonton Oilers, and he's back to being on a line with Connor McDavid. Because of that, I have him up here at number 6. That's all it takes, guys. He's also seemingly getting top power play time as well right now with McDavid and Draisaitl. So definitely not a bad place to be for Puljujarvi. Then I have Connor Brown of the Ottawa Senators, very solid player, super underrated, gets a lot of ice time, gets top power play time. Not much more to say than that. Then Alex Formenton, who's playing on the second line, but top power play in Ottawa, definitely not a bad place to be there either. Then I got Lawson Krause, who's skating on the second line in Arizona with Galchenyuk and Phil Kessel. It's not a terrible line. He's been hitting and shooting the puck a decent amount as well, giving him a very safe floor night in and out. Don't mind Krause. Then I have Kyle Okposo, who's skating on the third line in Buffalo, but has been pretty solid all year round, so I don't mind streaming Okposo. Then I have Phil Kessel, who I just mentioned, plays with Krause and with Galchenyuk on the second line. Phil Kessel's been relatively decent all year. Don't mind streaming him. Nick Schmaltz plays on the top line with Clayton Keller and Travis Boyd. He's been pretty hot lately, so definitely don't mind streaming him. Then I have Nick Paul, who right now is actually skating on the top line with Brady Tkachuk and Connor Brown. Excuse what I said before. Stützle is actually skating on the second line right now, but Stützle is still super valuable because he's also getting that top power play time. So don't worry too much about that. But yeah, Nick Paul is definitely someone who's pretty valuable right now and has really good chemistry with Connor Brown. Then I have Peyton Krebs of the Buffalo Sabres, and he's getting top power play time with the likes of Tuch, Tage Thompson, and Jeff Skinner, and he's also getting time on that second line with Victor Olofsson, which is definitely not a terrible line, and he's been producing as of late. I like adding Peyton Krebs for sure as a streamer for this weekend. Then I have Kyler Yamamoto, who's playing on the line with Draisaitl and Evander Kane. Definitely not a terrible place to be for Kyler Yamamoto. Definitely an opportunity to put up some points there. And last but not least, I have Adam Gaudette of the Ottawa Senators, who's playing on that second line with Formenton, with Tim Stützle. I mean, he's definitely not the most talented player on this list, but he's definitely someone that you can consider at only 1% rostered. Jumping into defensemen, and first on the list, the number one guy that I would grab if he's available is Evan Bouchard of the Edmonton Oilers. And as long as he sticks on that top power play with McDavid, with Draisaitl, yeah, he's someone that's got a pretty nice amount of value, and he's had a pretty good season so far. Then I have Jared Spurgeon in the Minnesota Wild. He's top power play in Minnesota with all those studs in Minnesota, with Kaprizov, with Matt Boldy, with Zuccarello. It's a pretty good place to be, and Spurgeon's really been producing lately. Then I have Jacob Chychrun of the Arizona Coyotes, and he's been doing relatively well lately. He's putting up a good amount of peripherals. He loves to shoot the puck, so he's got a safe floor for you there every single night. And he's been producing a few points here and there lately as well. Then I have Jacob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes, and he's been pretty solid all year. He's putting up some decent peripherals. Nothing too crazy, but definitely a pretty safe floor. And he's been able to score a point every couple of nights. Then I have Jonas Brodin of the Minnesota Wild, getting currently second power play time, which isn't overly valuable, but it's definitely not terrible. And he's someone who puts up some blocks and is able to put up that safe floor because of that. Then I have Matt Roy of the Los Angeles Kings, and Matt Roy has been really solid all year. He's been putting up some solid peripherals to give you a safe floor night in and out, and he's been able to put up a point every few games as well, which definitely doesn't hurt. Then I got Shane Gostisbehere, who is on the top power play in Arizona. He is a little bit cold as of late, but the season as a whole, he's been pretty solid, so don't mind Shane Gostisbehere as a streamer for this weekend. Then I have Calvin DeHaan and Connor Murphy of the Chicago Blackhawks. They're guys that have been giving you a really safe floor lately because they've been blocking a whole lot of shots and putting up some other peripherals too. Just don't expect them to get you any kind of points, really. Then I have Esa Lindell, who's also there mostly just for that safe floor. Occasionally could put up a point as well. I have Brady Shea and Brett Pesce, both guys who also give you a little bit of a floor and guys who can definitely put up a point here and there as well. And Braden McNabb, also a guy just there for the floor. He blocks, he hits, he shoots a little bit, mostly the blocks, but because of that, he gives you that safe floor. And then Sean Dursley of the LA Kings, if you need a Friday, Saturday streamer. He gets PP2 time in LA. Doesn't put up a whole lot for peripheral, so you got to hope that he puts up a point. Jumping into the categories league section of the video now, guys. And if you're really close in your matchup for shots on goal and you want to make sure that you take that matchup, well, the number one guy to add is Victor Arvidsson. He shoots the puck on average 3.7 times per game. So over a couple games, he's probably going to get you 7 or 8 shots, which is really good. So definitely the guy to add. Then Alex Tuck shoots 3.3 times per game. Jeff Skinner, 3.2. Jacob Chychrun, 3.1. Tage Thompson, 3.1. Joel Eriksson 3.1. And Dustin Brown, if you need a low-owned option, at only 6% rostered, shoots 2.7 times per game, which is not bad at all. And if you want to make sure you win the blocks category, the number 1 and 2 guys to add are Connor Murphy and Calvin DeHaan. Already discussed them. They've been putting up a lot of blocks lately and therefore make excellent streamers. Over those 2 games that they're going to play this weekend, they're probably going to get you 5 blocks, which is pretty good. Then Braden McNabb, 2.5 blocks per game. Jake McCabe, 2.4 blocks per game. Zaitsev, 2.1. And Esa Lindell 2.0. Now, if you want to make sure you win your hits category, the number 1 guy I have on my list is Mark Kastelik of the Ottawa Senators. Now, he has a very small sample size since he's only played about 10 games this season, but over those 10 games, he's been hitting 4.1 times per game, which is pretty solid. So assuming he keeps following the same trend, Kastelik may actually be a pretty solid streamer for you. Only for hits. He's not going to do anything else for you, but if you are really desperate for those hits, over a couple of games this weekend, Kastelik could get you 8 hits. Then I have Jordan Staal, who hits 3.1 times per game, Austin Watson 3.0, Marcus Foligno 2.9, and Lawson Krause 2.7. Now, if you need face-off wins, the number 1 guy to grab is Jordan Staal, only 9% rostered, 9.8 face-off wins per game, which is fantastic. Joel Eriksson 9.2 face-off wins per game. Philip Dano, 8.5. Chandler Stevenson, 8.4. William Karlsson, 8.2. Dylan Strome, 8.2. Although on this season, he's 5.3 per game, but lately over his last 10 games, he's been winning 8.2, and he has had a more elevated role lately, so I'm going to use that 8.2 as his average. Definitely not a terrible ad. And then Travis Boyd at 6.1 face-off wins per game. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.